Yo, it's Shiro. This is Shiro's TV. Welcome to an interesting episode of Booking It, which is a new series, which is basically Shiro's book club.
It's my book club. Come join us.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I am an avid reader,
I'm the only brain cell left. Well, at least I have my books.
and it has become an obsession of mine as much as writing has, and I want to review the books that I finish, starting with the massive mountain of books that are accumulating. I want to put these books back on my shelf, not this shelf right here, but my two shelves over here that I'm trying to fill up. I'm gearing up for a submission for Daniel's critique of bookcases
Bookshelf roast.
on Daniel Green's channel if you want to check that out. But I want to start this by explaining what this book club is. It's a place where we're going to be going over key points of each book. We're going to go over the things I liked, the things I didn't like, and we'll go over my overall impression of the book. And if I would recommend it, will be the final word on the subject. And I want to start this by giving you peeps a sort of taste of my reading habits. So I'll start by going over the 5 books I'm reading currently. And that's just to say I have a different way of reading books. I used to read one at a time, but there's a lot of books that I read that are more information based and that are harder to keep my attention. So I invented this system. I started with 3 books and then I was like, no, this isn't enough. So I upped it to 5. So whenever I feel like reading one book, I'll read that one. If it's engaging enough, usually I'll read it front to back. You know, it won't give me a reason to put it down, I won't. But sometimes you want to just absorb something else. And so that's sort of what the system is designed for. It's helped me get through a lot of books. It's also helped me ignore a lot of books that have stayed in rotation for a while. But let's go over the books in descending order. First, we're going to go with the sequel to a book of words, and it is called A Man Betrayed by J.V. Jones. It is a medieval setting, and I want to compare it to Game of Thrones, but that would not be doing it justice. We won't be talking about these books right now. I've got about 100 pages left here, but I tell you what, it was really hard to put down, and I'm excited to read the last book in the trilogy. Moving on, we have some classic Greek literature with the 3 Theban plays.
What?
That has to do with Oedipus. If you don't know about that, that's fine.
Gay dad blow pops another sucker. Oedipus was the first motherfucker.
I mean, you don't need to. I'm just very interested in Greek mythology and Norse mythology, the tales they tell and different things of that nature. But that one I haven't really made even a dent in. I just started reading it. Hard for me to really get into playwright, sort of like Shakespearean text. Very hard for me to do playwright, but I'm really trying to swallow my feelings on that and just dive ahead. The 3rd book in my rotation currently is The Mandarins by Simone de Bois. I'm sure I'm not saying that correctly, but that is a book I actually have been dying to read for a very long time. It is one of my favorite books so far out of all of reading I've done, and I think it's just the rhetoric really speaks to me, and I think it's very emotionally grounded, but we won't go much further into that. I just wanted you to understand that a lot of my book choices sometimes come from spontaneous recommendations I find just in the ether. I read Play It As It Lays by Joanne Didion just because I saw the book laying on Joel Goldberg's table, an episode of the show You, and honestly, I can't thank the show enough for exposing me to one of my favorite authors to date now. Can't wait to read Blue Nights and The Year of Magical Thinking. But that's only 3 of the 5 books that I'm reading currently, and so we will be moving on to Guns, Germs, and Steel by a Jared Diamond, and that one is more on the subject of anthropology and the creation of statehood and civilizations.
Anthropology is a very important field of study.
Very fascinating on the macro scale of life. Very intriguing. I like reading things a lot of the time that have to do with just understanding history. It's a huge part of my interests. Another is also politics, so you will not be surprised that I am currently reading the last book in the rotation, Dark Money by Jane Meyer. and that is honestly one of my favorite reads. It's hard for me to get into it because I annotate the fuck out of it. I am extremely politically engaged. You'll be seeing a lot of that later on the channel. It's just hard for me to edit those videos because I take my political rhetoric very seriously. And so in that same vein, it has taken me a long time to really digest. I'm almost at the halfway point, but I'm really rarely in the mood with all of the political coverage going on right now. But I'm sure sooner or later I'll pick it up again and just devour the other half. That has been a discussion of my current reads, a discussion of my reading habits and how I read, so you sort of understand how this proceeds. But I want to move on to future reads. You know, the ones I have sitting over here waiting to review. Those will be the bulk of the next few reactions you'll be getting. We'll just list them off one by one. But first I want to let you know the first Booking It episode that's going to be coming to you is going to be coming to you in a triple drop. The first Booking It episode will be the book review of light novel 25 of ReZero, and the second Booking It episode will be an encompassing of light novel
number 1 of ReZero to light novel number 25 of ReZero, the entire light novel series.
And we will also be going over the spin-off series, the 5 books flashback novels known as ReZero X, edition 26 of the light novel, awaiting to be read. I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I really did devour those books at an unhealthy speed, and I need a time to digest all the information I've consumed.
I'm pretty sure there's nothing any of us can do to help him. There's no helping his mental state.
But that's to give you a taste of some of the books that we're going to be checking out soon. Ender's Game by Scott Card, one of my favorites. The Silmarillion, a really interesting look into J.R.R. Tolkien's writing and universe, and I'm really excited to speak about that because it was rather impactful for someone like myself who is not a fan of J.R.R. Tolkien or The Lord of the Rings. So we'll get to that. We have Priya Gun's Your Driver is Waiting, which was a very greedy read for me. Not as much as Gunmetal Gods, I would say, because
I mean, it's good, isn't it?
this stands on its own very well. This one you should be seeing after all of the ReZero novel breakdowns. Neon Ghost by Daniel Green, a creator that inspired this channel. So shout out to you, that sexy beast. Also, in reference to Daniel Green's wife, I started the sequel to The Golden Compass. She's a huge fan of his Dark Material series, and I would say so am I. I'm interested to see how the trilogy wraps up. We have The Witcher, the first book in the Witcher novel series. Very interesting to get an insight into The Witcher, a property I haven't watched, I haven't played, so we're also going to be playing Witcher 3 on this channel soon, so check out for that soon. This one was a hugely quick read. I read this one very recently. The Alchemist, Nicholas Flamel. Very cheeky read. This one should be soon. A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury, the same author of Fahrenheit 451. And this one was an interesting read. I didn't want to talk about this because it's an anthology series. I didn't want to cover those, but it had a profound impact on me, so I decided to cover it anyway. So besides that, we have one more book that we will be covering, Mitch Albom's Stranger in the Lifeboat. And that one's a bit of a dry read, but we will actually talk about that because it turned out to be one of my favorite books I've ever read. So that's about it for this video, peeps. I wanted to let you guys know what my reading habits were, what I'm reading right now, what we're going to be reviewing, what's coming up really soon, but that's pretty much it for Booking It. I hope you guys want to join the book club. These are sort of just recommendations of my own as I move forward in my journey to reading every great piece of fiction and nonfiction in the literary world. So I'll see you all next time for ReZero Light Novel 25. Peace.